Hi guys, I'm here to walk you through how to use Padlet. It is a digital bulletin board feature that teachers and students can use in their classroom. First, I'm just going to walk you through the basics. Yes, you can create a free account. You can sign in with Google, Microsoft 365. However, the free account does have a significant limitation in that you can only make 5 active boards. Okay, and that means that there are only 5 boards at a time that can be posted on. But if you create a board that you have a certain layout and certain settings, you can archive it. And if you go here, you'll see I have lots of archive boards. And so I just sort of trade them out. I'll archive something and then archive it back when I'm done. So I can unarchive here. And it actually does save. Let's see if this one, yeah. So this one has images from previous students there. So you see that. So the limitation is not ideal, but it's not completely prohibitive in using Padlet. This, I have 4 right now so that we can make one together, but I'm just going to walk you through the basics. So we'll click on this one. This is a Padlet where my students were coming up with images, what they believed these 4 mythological creatures that we read about looked like. As you can see, this is the wall layout. It identifies the author, what name they put there. They choose that. They can choose just their first name or first and last, and then they specify in text what it is that they're responding to. They can heart and like things and comment, both you as a teacher, but users on the board. All students can do that for each other. We'll walk through some features. You can change the title of it here. It can be, so far I haven't found a text limitation. I'm sure it can't be incredibly long, but it does give you a lot of options there. And you can describe it. This would be, if this is being used as an independent assignment, this might be a place for that. You can create a custom icon or choose one. This one is about like water stuff. So let's see if I can find water in here somewhere. All right, so there's my water icon there. So and it just puts it right at the top. As you can see, not necessary, but can help you distinguish between certain boards. The wallpapers, they have a couple of basic layouts. I don't feel like their options are don't have a lot, I would say. But you can upload a custom layout. Like anything, you're going to have to adjust to size and resolution because it's going to stretch it out really large. So with the default layouts, but there is a way to make a custom one if you prefer that wallpaper. And you can change the color scheme for the post to be light or dark, as well as the font and the post size. If you make it wide, it's going to limit the number of posts that are seen on the board itself. So I think these are a decent size. The format is what's interesting. Obviously, wall to me is the simplest, and it's just you structure whether you want the most recent post or you want oldest to the newest. There are columns, and you can actually make sections for each column. So if you direct students to putting, like if I had divided this by the 4 creatures, Charybdis, Scylla, Harpies, and Sirens, I could have had students drop down that way. Grid is very similar to a wall feature. If you do freeform, you should enable that before students post, because once they post, this is what's going to happen. It's going to scaffold them kind of all around and on top of each other. And students would be able to drag and drop where they would put it if it were already on freeform, but obviously that wasn't the case when I had this one. Timeline is another one if you were asking students to sort things in a certain specific way, or simply just by newest to oldest. Stream uses sections. And then map would basically be actually embedding a map in there. That's not a feature that I've used in English language arts, but it is something that you can do. You can organize the positions of the post first and last, turn on comments and reactions, but also you can turn them off, and show author and timestamp as well. So you can have anonymous board. That is just for what the students see. There is a way that you would still be able to see the posts. Let's say you did not want any text in the post, you could turn that off. And the location has to do with maps only. So the moderation feature I think is really helpful. They use an AI to ensure that inappropriate images and text are not used. So far, I haven't seen anything inappropriate from students. It does certain images, like particularly with this subject is mythology. So some of the images are kind of grotesque and dark because they're monsters. It might tag those. So it has I think it's overly cautious rather than not doing its job. But I don't know if it does filter out like profanity and things like that. I've never seen it get through, but I don't know what students have tested. So there's that too. You can create a custom URL for each board, and it's going to be padlet.com, your username, and then whatever you decide the URL is. So I think that helps a little bit because the URLs can be a little chunky. With appearance, we go back to all these things. So you can scroll and find all the settings, or they're divided this way. Other things that we're going to do is these are additional options. You can remake it and share it. You can freeze the board, which just doesn't allow any more posts. You can delete a board and archive it, which we've already looked at. This is interesting. It goes through all of the different users and you can give them feedback. So it's like a minor LMS embedded in this, but Padlet also has a premium feature. Your district would have to subscribe to it where it is an included extension in Canvas. So I've used it before, but I no longer have access to it now, where it is the way that students would turn in an assignment would be through Padlet, and Canvas recognizes that. So they do talk to each other. It just requires a district subscription. The activity panel, I think, is also pretty helpful if you need to see kind of the Padlets obviously can become cluttered pretty quickly. So this runs through just all of the activity. You can see students can post multiple times and what they posted and what they did. So even if the post is anonymous on the board, you should be able to see the activity by the individual users. Another helpful feature in terms of using it as an assignment is the automations. You can actually trigger it to close at a specific time. So, or freeze or unfreeze, but freeze would be close. It doesn't delete it, but it stops allowing posts. So if you had to use it as an assignment and wanted to be able to lock it specifically, otherwise they're going to be able to add at all times. And though the AI feature does moderate it, you obviously could lose control over what's being posted there. Students could, you can see they have a good time with it. There are lots of different ways that they can post, and I'm going to walk you guys through those in a minute. So some students just really enjoy just adding as much as they can. And in this case, because of the size of this course in class, that's not something that I discourage. You can make the link private and have a password if you would like, and make it so students have to log in. That is not what I have right now. They are just able to access it and just put their name, but you can do that. You can make it to where they can only comment or read about it and not post anything. And you can they can actually moderate it as well. You can do those things. So you can add collaborators, other teachers, and that sort of stuff, and even share it as a slideshow, a QR code to share with people or embed it on your website. Breakout rooms, not a feature that I've used a lot, but you have to have sections in your board for this to work. You can enable a submission form. So that means that you have to submit before they see what other people have. So almost like I can't reply to a discussion board until they've done that. And export them all. They have lots of export features. So I think it really has a lot, especially in the fact that it's free, a lot of ways that you can transfer what has happened on the board for other use. And I'll show you guys just how a student would post. So they're going to see the same little plus sign in the corner there. It defaults to just text, right? It's going to just have them type, and then they have basic, they upload, link, take a picture, or image search. Image search is just going to use, this is where I was giving them prompts, the web or YouTube or any of those things, which was originally how I used Padlet, Medusa, right? If we wanted to see that. Sorry, I'm on a Greek mythology kick. Let's go here. Medusa, and then you're going to see just the general things. The issue with this is that if you have students do image searches of something specific, they're obviously it's going to generate the same ones, right? Google's algorithm is going to probably give similar things. So one of the things that they've just added is an AI image generator. It is not perfect by any means. Actually, I've yet to find a lot of free ones that are, but they can provide their description of it, which is how we've used it here, right? So let's say they talk about Charybdis, who is supposed to be a female creature, whirlpool with teeth. They have to use their own descriptions to generate that image. So let's see if I can do that. Female, and we'll see that it's not perfect. Spell check, yay. But it is something that at least allows for some variety in posting versus just canned Google image responses. So some of the posts that you see were from Google Image, and then some of them were from students using AI. So this one I think is pretty interesting. It generated that itself, and it says that it's AI used. So if you're having students, if you want them to brainstorm and use kind of their own thoughts about whatever topic that you're giving them, I think this is a cool way to do it. So AI, that's a new one that hasn't always been for Padlet. It also has a draw feature. I have yet to see students use this with any sort of actual skill. It usually just looks a lot like stick figures. I I think it would have to be using tablets or interactive touchscreen pens to really be able to get this. But you don't have to have that. You can just draw. I'm not going to try to do that here because it's just not within my skill set. So and make sure that you want to save it. You can pull images from your drive. AI speech writes it for you. And then it has its own images and things like that, but it's not going to be everything. You can embed YouTube videos. Let's see, Spotify allow you to do all of these things without a premium subscription. So I think that the variety of ways that students can post and respond to something is very helpful. All right, so we're going to go back to my original dashboard. This is what dashboard is, just where all of your stuff is. There are galleries of other things, and then there are ways that you can learn how to use it, and we can just start our own Padlet. It gives you a couple of examples and things. You can make a discussion board or just start with a blank board. Because of how simple it is to create a blank board with the backgrounds, I haven't really used much of these, but it is possible to use what they have. And then it gives you board examples here. So it offers ways of how you can use it. I'm going to click on this one. Okay, you can poll students there, so you can have lots of different questions and they can respond to those and vote. So it has a couple different ways that things that you can add. And then once you create like this template, all of this is customizable. If we don't like this background, and I do not, we can change that. So this was the board example, and it wants us to remake. This belongs to someone else. You can even see where they created it. So, and you can call it whatever you want. So we're going to remake that so we can edit it ourselves. And then this is where we can get into the appearance and the wallpaper and stuff like that. It can be as basic as you want. You do have to make sure when you're in these changes, you're in the change to save it, but I don't think it's super hard to go back and do that as well. So this, I think, actually haven't used Padlet for these type of interactive questions yet, but I use it more of an image-based thing. But I think that it has a lot of great features, especially being for the fact that this is a free account. I am signed in through my district, but it's not covered or paid or premium or anything like that. I hope that this has kind of given you a walkthrough in the benefits of Padlet. I actually think you could do a lot on it. That is one of the things with certain tools, that they're very specific, and that means you have to go to a whole nother tool for something else. But I think that you could make this have a lot of uses and a lot of assignments. The only drawback will be that, again, you can only have 5 live at one time. And to show you how this person embedded in polls, they went and added a post here. So you're going to add posts in the same way. It's just that yours are going to be able to be interacted with. But students could do it too if you want to make them provide a poll. They even have a screen recorder as well. But they did that here, and you ask the questions there. And then, of course, in your activity log, you're going to be able to see who voted and all of that. They can record audio as well and put that up there. And things when they do video and audio recording, that would be where you would want to have a secret board, is what they call it, a private board. Let's look at the Spotify. See what it does. So using Spotify, it just is going to open up, and it's just going to link it to whatever a playlist that you clicked on there. You can actually put other Padlets within a Padlet, as you can embed links, so you can embed anything. So you could put that there if you wanted to have a joint one board to do other boards. But again, they would need to be active boards as well. So more limitations for that. You can start from scratch when you're creating your Padlet, or look at AI recipes, things they're using when you want to create a rubric or any of those things. I think it has a lot of uses, guys, and I hope that this helped you kind of understand the benefits of it. There are things that, even having used Padlet before, that I didn't know that it could do all that it can. So thank you.